I'm going to choose record to the computer. Now I'm recording. At any point, I can pause the recording or stop the recording. So I just want to start by welcoming and setting an intention. Since this is a Pathwork meeting, I thought, why not set an intention? And I invite you to. I'm going to say mine. I invite you to have one too. We're going to be together for 2 hours. I know some people get overwhelmed by a lot of technology, or other people just get bored, or just looking at a screen for 2 hours. So I would invite you to set an intention to be relaxed and open and just not stressed about it. And if you need to take a break, go take a break. We're going to record this. You can always watch it. You can look up everything I'm going to tell you by Googling it. So my intention is just to be undefended and present with you all, hold myself in acceptance for what I do know and what I don't know, and really to give you my best. So let's just take 30 seconds for some silence and for you to come up with your own intention. Okay, well, I'm delighted to have all of you with me, with all of us together. I'm delighted to be with you. And let's start by talking about how to switch between gallery view. Oh, I didn't go over my agenda, did I? This is not good. Go back to this.
Billy, how did you put up the agenda?
I'm going to show you that. I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. So we're going to talk about the basic instructions for Zoom participants, because you are participants, and also because you'll be wanting to give these instructions to your participants. We'll talk about the basic Zoom features for presenters. We'll talk about lighting and composition. We're going to have a peer discussion about teaching interactively. And I'm really, our last group was pretty shy, and I'm hoping you won't be. If you've got things that that work to teach interactively, whether it's online or not, I'm sure we'll translate to online. We'd love to hear it. And at the end, we'll do what's the most basic part. And some of you, what we'll do is I will end the meeting for those of you that want to go and are past this basic setup, and so that we can go for however the people that are more remedial, if I can say that, will be there for the very end. So there's 2 views, speaker view and gallery view. So gallery view is where you can see, on my screen I can see everybody because I've got a 27-inch monitor. On my Chromebook I can only see 4 people. On an iPhone I don't even know what you can see, but this is one of the reasons where it's really good to have a large monitor if you can. In fact, we had our large meeting had 70 people, of which we had 46 different nodes, and I could see everybody on my screen, as you can see here, and it was lovely to see everybody. Okay, so that's gallery view, and this is speaker view. If you look up on mine, they're in different places, but if you look up on mine, here, let me, I'm clicking on this annotate here, so unfortunately, so I can get a little, something to help me spotlight, and then go back. So if you look up here where it says gallery view, that means if you click it, it will switch to gallery view because we're now in speaker view. In speaker view, whichever person is speaking gets the screen. Now, and it becomes full screen. Now, that even includes if somebody coughs while this person is speaking, they're going to get the screen. So that's why you might want to mute everybody, or make sure everyone manages the background noise so you're not always stealing the view from the person who's doing it. And then the same thing, you click in the same, I'll just turn this off. Similarly, you click gallery view or speaker view to switch. So that should be okay. So that's the other main things you want to be able to do is mute yourself. And I'm just trying to find the best way to do this. Sorry. Okay, so here you can see here's how you mute yourself. Here's how you turn your video on and off. If you're on the phone, if you're connected by the phone and you don't have, and you want to mute yourself, you use *6 to mute yourself and *6 to unmute yourself. Well, so the other thing you can do is raise hands. So if where do I want to go? Let's go to my screen. And on the bottom of my screen, can you see, am I still sharing my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh, goodness. All right. Hold on a second. I've confused this annotate feature, I have to tell you, is more trouble than it's worth. And I'll show you it, but I would mostly tell you not to. Bear with me.
No, Billy?
Yeah.
Okay, raise your right now. Or should I hold back? Raise your right now, or hold it for later?
Michael, it's really hard to hear you. Can you type your questions down in the chat window at the bottom? So here down at the bottom this is the other thing I wanted to talk about for participants. Can everyone see where my mouse is now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was saying before, on the left here on my screen, I can mute and unmute myself. Here is where I can turn my video on and off on the left. And then where it says chat, here is where I can type a message to everyone. Hi, everyone. You notice it says, it's very small. You see it says everyone. I can also type something right to Judith or Kent or Terry or whomever I want. And you can type something just to me. So I'm just typing, hi, everyone. And now you should all, can everyone see you've got a thing that lit up? In fact, why doesn't everybody just for a little practice, go ahead and just type a message to me or to everyone, hi, or whatever you want to say. And Michael, if you have a question, if you could type it in there also. You want to try that? Is there anybody that is struggling to find the chat icon? Michael, are you raising your hand? Michael, can you get the chat?
I can't
Michael, I'm going to unmute you because there's a lot of distracting noise coming and I can't tell what you're trying to say. So if you could just type your question. Okay. All right. So the other thing that we really want to let participants know about is the raise hand feature. So the raise hand feature is if you mouse over participants at the bottom, mine says manage participants, yours should say participants, and it may be elsewhere depending on your device. If you click on it, you should see something. I don't have one because I can't raise my hand. See, Alicia's raised her hand and I can see that. So could everybody try raising your hand? And if you have a question, come off mute and ask it or type it in the chat window. And Joel, are you, Carol, Kent, Terry, do you need help finding the raise hand?
I can't, well, here's something that says participants. I hit that.
Yes, click on participants and you should see raise hand.
Raise hand. Oh yeah, there's little hands. Okay. And then click on that.
Good. Carol, you struggling? You're muted. Here, let me unmute you. Or you're gonna have to unmute yourself, Carol.
Unmute, that's good. I see manage participants, but when I click on it, I'm not getting the hand.
Wait, yours says manage participants? It should say participants.
Mine says manage participants. Oh, there's participants on the bottom.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Oh, there you go. And Kent,
Yes,
can you see how to raise your hand?
I've done it twice.
Oh, no, that's a different hand. Those are reactions. You want to go to participant, and that will go away. Those hands will go away. I don't use the reactions. Most people don't. But anyways, if you go over in participants, Ken, and then click on raise hand. Can you see where it says participants on the bottom, probably?
Yes.
Oh, you got it. Okay, good. And now I have the ability to go to manage participants. If you look at my screen, and you can see, by the way, if I'm managing a meeting, when you have 60, 70 people in a meeting, you can't keep track of who's raising their hand so easily. Fortunately, the person that raises their hand goes to the top of this list. Can everybody see this list? You can just nod your head. Okay, good. So the person that raises their hand first goes to the top of their list. So if I wanted to call on people in the order that they raise their hands, I could go right down this list. And once I do, I'm going to lower the hand, lower that hand. I can lower the hand for each individual person, or I can see where it says clear all here. I can clear all and all the hands go away. All right. So now if you're on the phone, as I said, you don't have the ability, you mute and unmute with *6, and you raise your hand and lower your hand with *9. *9 raise, *9 lower. And we have one blind participant, and that's the only way that she can do that. So,
Billy,
yeah, Kim.
what do you mean if you're on the phone? Do you mean you're not on your computer?
To some people, well, like Peggy would join only by phone because she can only call in because she doesn't see. So,
Gotcha.
but there's other people who they're using both their phone for the audio because they get better audio on their phone, and they're using video separately. And so if you were doing that, you could do that.
Billy, can you just say *6 and *9, which is which?
Yeah, *6. Oh, sorry. *6 is mute and unmute. And *9 is raise hand and lower hand.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so what do we need to know as, so that's basically Zoom for instruction. Oh, did everybody get the gallery view and the speaker view? Are you all able to do that? I see all heads nodding. If you didn't, let me know.
Billy,
Yeah.
I'm fine. This is Jean. I've got on the right-hand side of my screen, I've got 3 thumbnails, and then I've got this other gallery view, and I don't know how to get.
Here, hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. Because
Okay.
when I share my screen, it takes over everything. And so at best, you have a little row of people that you can see. And then there's a little, it's subtle here, I'll show you it, a little scroll bar. Let's see, where's that? Bear with me. Yeah, if you look at the bottom here where it says scroll, you see that little white arrow? Then while I'm in either speaker view or sharing screen view, I can see everybody by scrolling up and down. The same thing. When I scroll down, I'll get one of these at the top and I can scroll up. Okay, good so far?
Okay.
You can also get rid of those little thumbnails by choosing one of the options at the top
Yes.
of that column.
Yes.
The one on the left-hand side of that column of thumbnails.
So Michael, you're saying you are struggling with do you see in the upper right corner of your screen where it says gallery view or speaker view? Did that work? Let me know if that worked or didn't work in that chat, if you would. Okay. All right. So now we want to talk about how to manage participants. Really, I guess I got to share my screen again. You might have to remind me if I'm not sharing my screen, or if I sound like I'm trying to show you something and you don't see it, then you know, say something. So really important, I am sharing my screen. So now I'm clicking on Manage Participants. Now you see here, can you see this? It's pretty small, mute all, right here. If you don't see it, take my word for it. It says mute all. And if I click that, now everybody's going to be muted. And it gives me the option, do I want to allow participants to unmute themselves? Often you don't, right? It's like, no, we're going to have like 10 minutes of silence. I don't want anybody unmuting themselves during that meditation or something. But typically, I like to let people unmute themselves. I like to hear people. I mean, one of the things that's most disconcerting is I have a really good sense of humor, and I don't use it that much when I'm spiritual teaching, but I use it a little bit. And when I do, it's nice to hear some chuckles back. You know, it's nice to get that feedback. So it's kind of weird to say something that you're pretty sure was funny and hear dead silence. Or even if somebody's sharing something moving, I like to hear or express, you know, oh, you know, that feedback of, you know, I heard you, I was touched by that. So I like to leave people unmuted on balance, depending on the size of the group. And so there's mute all and unmute all. And now everybody's unmuted except for, and now everybody is muted except for me. Now, if you've muted yourself, I can't unmute you. So, you know, if you're screaming at your spouse and you don't want us to hear, if you mute yourself, I can't unmute you. All right, I've unmuted everybody. I muted everybody, so if you want to speak up, just unmute yourself. Okay, those are really important. Oh, and the other thing that's, another thing that's really important here is this, it's kind of small, this clear all, whether everybody, if people raise their hand or use any of these other icons, there's this yes, no. If you want to use those, I rarely do, but you might be saying, how many people would like to go for another 20 minutes? You know, raise, you know, click yes, yes for yes or no for no. And then it will actually give a count of, right here, you can see very small 1 and 1, how many people have clicked that. So you can immediately say, oh, well, 20 yeses and 3 nos, we're going to go ahead another 15 minutes. And if the other 3 want to drop off, they can. Go slower or go faster. You know, you might, I don't know that someone like me that speaks fast, I might say, hey, if I'm going too fast, hit the go slower button and I'll be cued. Or maybe it's just like how many in general would like it to go a little slower or fast. I would never use that probably. Here's other icons I would rarely use. You can play with these. I just, in the interest of time, not going to go over them. But the most important thing is this clear all. So no matter what people have done, if you clear all the hands go down, all the voting goes down, and very important function. Okay. The if when I click on these 3 dots here, can you see these 3 dots? It's kind of small. In fact, and can you see these things that pop up? These are settings. Mute participants on entry, allow participants to unmute themselves, allow participants to rename themselves. Oh, one of the things I do, by the way, particularly with with any size group, is when people come in, if they come in with, you know, sometimes it's just a phone number instead of, like you see mine says Billy Wild, Judith says Judith Garden. Some people it's just a phone name or some, J-Man. People have their nicknames. So as people come in, I ask their names and I will rename. All I have to do is I can go over here. I'm on Alicia and I click on more and I can go ahead and rename Alicia. If I want to say she's from Pittsburgh, just add some more. I did this one time. Where everyone was from, I added that in. So I can actually edit what appears there. What else can I do here? You click on more, I can stop people's video, which I would rarely do. A spotlight video I've actually never used. I'm not even sure what it does. I can make someone the host. I can allow someone else to record, and I can put them in the waiting room, which I've never done, and I don't know why you would. So let's see if I've missed anything here. Oh, and I can lock meeting, which is probably a good thing to do. So now, if I click lock meeting, nobody else can join the meeting. That you might say that's if you're concerned about security. I'm not concerned about security. If somebody wants to pop in and learn these fabulous secrets, they're welcome to. There's also, you didn't see it here, but this is actually something useful. Very often someone's like, oh, I can't find my video. I can't turn on my video. Well, if you go, you won't see, here you see stop video, but like, Alicia, turn off your video for a second. Oh, now you're going to go away though if you do that, I think. Don't do it. I'll just talk about it. So if Alicia turned off her video, instead of saying stop video in here, it'd say request participant to start video. So if I click that, then Alicia get a message on her screen, start your video. It doesn't always work. If she's got some problem with her configuration, it's not going to solve that. But if she simply hasn't turned it on, let's say, oh, there she did turn off. Yeah, but now I don't know where you are. Oh, there, I'll find you here. Manage participants. So now I'm going to Alicia. So here, I'm going to say ask to start video. Can you see that? Right there. And now Alicia would have something on her screen. We don't know what it looks like, but she does. She can tell us when she comes
Yeah,
back.
it says start video with a video camera with a line that is through it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna click that.
Great, and there
Here
you
I
are.
am.
Right. And I guess the last person in always goes to the bottom. Is Alicia on your bottom right also now? Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's how it goes. First person, and yeah, Alicia was the first, and Judith was the second. And everybody actually does have something different. I don't know why it's different. So don't assume that you're going to go, okay, we're going to share an order, and that people are going to know what that order is. What I'll normally do is I'm going, okay, Judith, I'm going to ask for a share then, and then Julia, and then Terry, and then Ingrid, and so people know and can get prepared if they want to do that. Oh, and then of course the chat window is the same as, I don't know if you've noticed it, but this lights up in orange. I think it's orange color when someone sends, here, Alicia, send me a message. It lights up some color. Can you see it down here?
I don't know how to
No.
hit send once I type out the chat.
I think it's just enter.
Oh,
Are you trying? Are you? Okay. Now you can see it's orange and it says 1. So I know there's one message there. So I can take it. I can take it or not take it. Let's see what you said. Hi, Billy. No.
Actually, that was me, and you
that
just
was
hit
Kim.
enter. That was Kim, and you just hit enter.
Kim saved you, Alicia. She rescued the day. Oh, and Alicia did not give up. She was more persistent than the problem. And there she is. Thank you.
thank you.
I mentioned recording before. When you press record, let's see. I don't know. People complained last time that some of my people could not see. So I created these for people to see a little bit better. So when you click on record, it says record on this computer or record to the cloud. What's the difference? Well, if you're on an iPhone, you can't record to the computer. You have to record to the cloud. If you record to the cloud, it sits out there for 30 days. You can download it to your own computer then at any point over those 30 days. Then it's going away, and you can share that link. So people would be, you know, if I wanted to share this link with everybody and I recorded it to the cloud, I could just share that link and you could get it. If I record to the computer, I've got it right on my computer. I can do whatever I want with it. If you do record to the cloud, there's a limit. So like probably 3 2-hour sessions would blow your limit. Okay. All right. Next, let me get out of it.
Billy,
Yes.
is the limit to the recordings, is that by number of recordings or by time?
It's space, number of megabytes.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Oh, someone said if you get locked out, can you get back in? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. Somebody want to try it? Alicia, you want to try it? And then I'll make sure to, well, Linda just got in.
I don't think they can get back in. That's what happened to Isabel last time. She got locked out and someone had to let you know.
Okay.
I think you might end up in the waiting room if you turn on the waiting room.
Got it.
All right, I'm not leaving then.
All right, don't leave. Well, I would, all right. Okay, let's talk about polls. So at the bottom of my screen, you see where it says polls. So I've turned on polls in our settings, and I'll show you the settings later. If you don't see this when you're presenting, it's because you haven't turned it on, assuming you have a paid account. I don't know if you get this in a free account. Everything I'm doing now is with the cheapest $15 plus tax a month. If you get a year, you get 2 months free account. It allows you to have 100 people at the same time, unlimited, virtually everything everything I can think of. So polls are pretty cool. And we'll talk later about how to keep people engaged, but one way to keep people engaged is to make sure they got something to do and interact. And if you've got a larger group, this is a pretty cost-effective way to do it. So I have set up a whole bunch of polls here. You see, I click this down arrow and you can see my different polls. And let's just do this one. So how long have you been teaching Pathwork? Now I'm going to click Launch Polling. And you should all see on your screen, I think, can you see your screen and my screen? I've got this polling progress. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and do your poll. How long you've been teaching Pathwork. Don't worry if you get it wrong. This is just for practice. And if you look at my screen, you can see the numbers and percentages adding up. So, 27 people to 27% or 4 people have been teaching for 20 to 30 years. One person has been teaching for more than 40 years. I guess that's you, Michael. And then at some point, so 16 out of 19 have voted. I don't know if the other 3 are doing, but I'm going to end the polling now anyways in the interest of time. And when I do enter the polling, it shows who the winner was in orange. Can you see that? It was a tie, actually. 10 to 20 years and 20 to 30 years was a tie. Wow. And I can relaunch the poll. Well, I don't know why you would ever do that. I guess maybe if you didn't like the results or for a tiebreaker or something. And I can share the results. So when I share the results, now you see it on your screen, and then at any point I can stop sharing the results. Alicia?
Billy, I don't have the polling thing at the bottom of my screen, but I do have a paid account. Where do I find that?
Yeah, but you're not hosting the meeting.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't make sense for you to have it. But let's make sure I do. All right, maybe I'll do that now. For breakout rooms.
Okay, that I want to know.
Okay, I'm going to go. Okay, so now I'm going to go into settings. Now, why do they hide it here? Can you see this little gear here?
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
think there's other ways into settings, but this is the way that that I typically get in. So if I click on settings, it gives me these options. Now, if I click on each one of these, it's a whole different set of things, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you get to this? How did you get to the screen?
How did I get here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it again. Next to the question. I go to this screen. So there's this return to meeting and there's this one. Now, depending on what device you have, it may be in a different spot. And there's this settings icon. I think you can also backdoor it by going to some other settings and then going to more settings. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I click on that and then I have all these options. And if that wasn't enough, and it's not, I have view more settings down here.
Okay.
And when I click on that, it opens a, you can't even see it. It opens this thing, which now you've got all of these things on the left and all of these things. And I'm just going to scroll down slowly to show you how massive it is. And I mean, it's not that massive. And in fact, it'd kind of be a good thing to go in and familiarize these things. You want to enable join before host. Can people join before you start? You want to enable that ability. That's one of the things. So somewhere down in here is going to be polling. Oh, let's see. So here's polling way down here. I've turned it on. By default, it's off. Also down here somewhere is breakout rooms. I've turned that on. By default, that's off. And then there's this other option. So that's settings. There's a ton here. I may talk more about it as we go, but the more you can learn about that, the better.
Can you tell us more about the breakout session?
Yes, that's next, Michael.
Okay, good.
Oh, let me finish talking about pollings. So, sorry, what's this? I have to. Before you start, disable everything that dings and rings and interrupts. So we were talking about polling. So if I go to edit here in polling, can you see up here? That's where I can create the poll. Immediately, it puts me into a new poll. Enter the title. I can call it anything. New test poll, because this is just for my reference. And then the question here that you're going to see, like, you know, how old are you? Whatever it would be. Or and then you can have single choice, like how old are you? That would be a single choice, right? I'm, you know, 1 to 10. I'm 20 to 30, et cetera, et cetera. Or you can have multiple choice. For example, you know, what classes have you taken, right? And I've taken, you know, the transformation program. I've taken teaching, the teacher training. I've taken helpership, and so you can select more than one option. And so that's for a new one, okay? But and clicking this makes it anonymous or not anonymous, the poll itself. So that's for a new poll, and it's distracting to me because I didn't realize for a while, it took me a while to find this out, that if you didn't want a new poll, just X that, and I've lost my thing. I'm going to go back to polls, click edit, and now I'm just going to X this out. All right, I don't know if this is because I got, what you should see here is a place to create more polls. I might figure this out later. We have more time, but it's a little convoluted because one of the things I've set, one of my settings that I've set is that you can see my controls. which you normally wouldn't do, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to show you how to teach other people how to do with other people. So well, somebody might want to remind me to come back to that, and hopefully I'll figure it out later. Good so far? You people with me? Am I talking too fast? There's a right pace? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are amazing. I'm so excited about breakout rooms, and they're a little confusing. But let's just do it together. So notice it says assign 19 participants. So it says 19, there's 20 of us on here. So you as the host will not be assigned to a breakout room. You can go visit them. I'll show you that. So let's say, in fact, let's actually do a breakout room now. So I'm going to say, let's do, let's see, 19 people. Let's say we'll have, if I do 7 breakout rooms, 3, I do 6 breakout rooms. No, okay, I'm going to do 7 breakout rooms. So there will be 2 to 3, even tells you, there'll be 2 to 3 participants in a room. And then the next thing, and I clicked automatically. You can do automatically or manual. Let's look at both of those. So now if I say create rooms, now it shows me, it created breakout room number 1. That's going to be Judith, Kent, and Pamela. And breakout room this room is Carolyn, Jean, and Terry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You with me so far? But even though I've said to do it automatically, I could, well, I know, Judith and Kent, man, you don't want to put them in the same room. I'm kidding. I don't even know if they know each other. So I can move Kent to a different breakout room. See that? Or I can exchange. I don't even know what I can exchange. Oh, I can say let's switch Kent with Kim, and now Kim, Judith, and Pamela are in the same room, and like that. Okay. So. Now there's more. You got to go. Oh, if you didn't like this, you can click recreate and start over. You can add a room if you didn't create enough. You can name the rooms. You might have a conference, right, where we're gonna have a breakout session on transgender, and we'll name that breakout room the transgender breakout room, for example. So the next thing is options. Now, this number, if you close this and open again, this number is going to reset. So once you're doing your breakout rooms, don't close this window again, your breakout rooms entirely till you've run your breakout rooms. So what I'm going to do, you're each going to have, I don't know, I'm just going to say the whole thing is going to be 3 minutes. And it's going to move you in automatically. That's what this first thing says. You can return to this main session at any time, or I can disable that. And you can have a countdown, and I'm going to have a 30-second count. Excuse me, a 30-second. So after 3 minutes, you'll see a countdown timer. And okay, so that's that. And now, once I click open all rooms, slowly these windows I have will disappear. It's kind of weird. You think it all happened in a minute. So it takes like 20 or 30 seconds, depending on how many people you have, for everybody to go into their rooms. But now you'll be in your rooms. You can share about whatever you want. You'll have, I don't know, do you need 3 minutes? I give you, why not? No, not 3 minutes. I give you, can I go per, oh, it's 2 minutes. You can say hi for 2 minutes. And once I click open all rooms, that will happen. Judith, did you need to say anything? Oh, what I should do is unmute everybody. You can, of course, unmute yourselves, but that will save a step for people once you're in your rooms. And I can also send you a message. I will send you a message while you're in the breakout room so you see what it looks like. Okay, here we go. I'm going to open all the rooms. Share as you like.
Hi, Joel.
Okay.
Where's
We're
it?
back. This is cool how we come back.
Yeah.
What is
There
it?
we
What?
are.
Yeah.
We lost him.
It's like Star Trek. We got.
You got beamed up. Yeah.
That's great.
It's funny.
Billy, I have a question. This is Jean.
Yeah, please, Jean.
When we've been using this ourselves, I'm teaching a class and I have I have an assistant. And when I go to make breakout rooms, I'd like her not to be in one of those rooms. So how?
Oh, good question. Excellent question.
I mean, what we've been doing is she gets put in a room and then she just takes herself out.
Oh, well, there you go. That's
one way of doing it. But I mean, then I have to juggle the rooms a little bit because she might end up in a room where there's only two and she's one of them. So,
I wonder, what if you make the person a co-host? That's an option I saw somewhere along the way.
I'm not sure about co-host. I'm something a little confused about. I think you have to have a specific kind of. There's two kinds of co-hosts, and I don't know the answer to the question. That's actually a good question. We could. If somebody wants to remind me at the end, we could try it and see if we could figure it ourselves. But I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
Wait, Billy, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you set the polls up in advance? Like, at what point do you set up? I mean, the breakout rooms.
Yes.
Well, you saw me doing it. I mean, well, when you say advance, you have to have. There might be a way to upload. I don't know if there's a way to upload a list by email or not. But what? You can't see my screen again. I better share my screen so I know you're quick. The fact that I kind of did set it up in advance, like, yesterday, my wife, Joanne, was teaching, and while she was teaching, because I didn't have to have my attention on anything else, I could fix these rooms up just how exactly I wanted them. But you have to have everybody together to do it. I don't know if there's a way to, I don't think there's a way to do it.
Okay.
Otherwise.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Yeah, so you want to remember to unmute everybody before you do it. And then, just because you couldn't see it there, I'm still sharing my screen. Okay. So if you look at these arrows on the bottom, once this thing starts, you see on the left, broadcast a message to all. I don't know if you noticed that I sent you 2 messages while you were in there. And at any point I could just say, okay, enough of this. I realized I didn't give you a good instruction. I'm going to close all the rooms, bring everybody back, and give you a better instruction or whatever.
So is there a way, it's Julia here.
Yeah, hi, Julia.
Is there a way to, because I noticed when you did that, it wasn't up there long enough for me to really read it.
Oh, just now?
Yeah, when you sent both messages. I mean, I could see it, but I couldn't do anything with it. So is there a
you mean by the time, by the time you saw it, it was
by the time I saw it, I could sort of read it, but then I wanted to look down at the bottom of my screen and follow what you were saying, and then it was gone.
I don't know if there is any way to do that.
Okay.
How long was the broadcast message up? Does anybody have any sense? Say 15 seconds, maybe. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, it wasn't long.
Okay.
I noticed them when they first, when it first came up, and I was able to read them, but but they're fairly unobtrusive. So the other people in the group didn't even know that they were up there.
Right. Yeah, they're subtle. They're subtle. The countdown is nice, I think. Was that less subtle?
Yeah.
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 So like if I have one second, Jude. If I have yesterday we had 2 minutes each way sharing with 3 people. So that's 6 minutes. So I definitely threw in an extra minute for them to orient themselves and to, you don't want to, Judith?
Yeah. What you do if you have a breakout room where people are let's say, giving each other practice sessions. And as a presenter, you want to go in and stop by and say hello and see
Thank you.
how it's going.
Yes, you can do that. Ask me if I remember how without seeing it.
Oh,
I do
okay.
not. Hold on, let's see. It's oh shoot. You can, and it's easy. I just don't remember, but I bet you if I was looking at it again, it would be obvious.
Okay.
Yes, the question that you absolutely want to do that, right? You just visit different groups of 4, and you guys need any help here? And, you know.
Yep.
All right. Great question. All right. Any other questions so far on this? I would like to. How's our time? Paid absolutely no attention to time. Wow, flying. Okay, I mean we're doing good. So lighting and composition. I think that your head basically wants to be in the top 2/3 of the screen, as mine is. Obviously, you want light in front of you, facing in your face, if you will, versus behind you. If the light's behind you, like with Joel, you can see he's got very little light in front of him, and he's got a window behind him, so he's mostly in shadow. I'm half in shadow because I got a whole bunch of window over here, and I have no real window over here, so I might have a fill light in there for myself. I've actually I'll show you my jury rig if you promise not to laugh at me, how I do it at night when I don't have a window and I really want to be well lit. No laughing. Here, hold on. Let me stop sharing. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been sharing so you could see Joel. Sorry, Joel. In fact, let's try one. Okay. Oh, another thing I didn't show is pin video. So now I'm pinning Joel. Do you see him also? Or is that just pinned on mine? Probably I'm just on mine, unless I was sharing my screen. That's another option you have. If you click on anybody's video, you can pin and unpin them. And what that's good for is, imagine I'm holding up something, I'm trying to show it to you. And every time, and even if you have me in speaker view, somebody coughs and you're trying to read it and now it goes away because somebody coughed. So if you pin the video, no matter what the sounds are made, that's the view of the person that you'll see the whole time.
And where do you pin the video?
Right click on anybody's image.
Oh.
Go ahead and try that now. Just right click on anybody's image. And then click pin video. And then right click again to unpin. When you do unpin, it goes right. I think it sort of takes you to speaker view. So you might want to click on gallery view afterwards just to get yourself back in gallery view.
But if you're on the phone, you can't. I can't find.
If you're on the iPhone, I don't know.
Gotcha.
I imagine tapping on it. What happens if you tap on someone's image?
Not much.
Well, sir, one more time, but I put that in the juice garden. I just, how do I put it in print? How do I put it in print again?
I'm sorry, Michael. Can you slow it way down or type it?
Okay. Let me try to slow way down. How do I put juice garden? I got an image up here on the screen, but I don't hear. Sorry.
Were you able to pin somebody?
Yeah, me, he said.
Oh, you pinned Judith. And then you can't unpin. If you right click again, it should say unpin video.
Okay, I got it.
Good. Okay, good job. All right, so let's just talk, we're talking about lighting and composition. So, if you're hosting, you're not going to host on an iPhone, and I don't think you should, unless you're desperate, you should, if you're hosting a meeting with, a bunch of people, you shouldn't be doing it on an iPad either or a Chromebook. You really want to have a laptop or a desktop computer. And the bigger the monitor, the more people you could see. Like I showed you, I could see all 47 people. I don't know if I could see 100 people. I'm curious how many I can see, but that's the most I've had a chance to see. you want to look good. You want to be well lit, in focus, right height, get rid of your sound distractions. So many people, their heads chopped off, or, I mean, the amount of people that do this, it's just uncomfortable to be looking at somebody that's down here. I'm not sure why it's uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable for some of us. So most of you look pretty good. Like Ingrid, you're like a little washed out on one side. You know, you probably got a bright light on your right side. You know, Natalie looks good. You're a little fuzzy, Natalie, but I would just assume that's just probably not a high quality camera. Nice to invest in a high quality camera.
I think it's
oh,
just,
I know. Go ahead.
sorry, I think it's just because the light isn't bright enough.
Oh yeah, you know what?
It gets grainy.
Got it. Yeah. For a second, you look really good. You know, Kathy, you're probably too close. Like, you're like this, Kathy. So it's like your whole head's taking up the screen. It's just you know, I think we're just more comfortable seeing people like this, or even like this.
Like this.
Like this. Well, now you're down here like this.
Okay, oh, Justin, if you see me,
You know.
I'll try adjusting, Billy.
Okay, good. But most people look really good. Judith has really good light. Kent has good light. Terry has good light. Even though she's got a light behind her, somehow it's working out for her. Good. Okay. All right. You know, turn off things that ding. You know, put your dog in the basement if you can. Your cat. I actually, do I want to say this out loud? Let's say it this way.
Say it.
Let's say it this way. People can, helpees, workers can get really frustrated. Some workers, like myself, can get incredibly frustrated. If I'm deep in my process and I hear the ding from your text message or the ding that you got a new email, I'm like, what's that? You know, I need to take care of something. I don't know if I'm typical or atypical, but there's enough people like me that you really want to turn all those things off. Get out of your email program completely if you don't know how to silence it. Let's just say I know one helper that lost a job because of it. Peer discussion. Oh, okay. You know, originally when I was telling Lorraine I was going to do this class, and I talked about this discussion I wanted to have about teaching interactively and from spirit and like that, she goes, well, don't you think you're a big, you know, I'm not a helper yet. I'm a month away. And you're going to be talking to people who are helpers for 20 or 30 years. So I'm really looking to you in this case. I said, well, that's a really good point. So we changed it to a peer discussion instead of me telling you. So let me just ask you, what works for you to keep things interactive, whether you're in a class or online, because I'm not sure there's that much difference.
I like to get
Alicia and then Julia.
I like when you mix things up a little bit. When we go into breakout rooms, when you have polls, when you show a video. I like when there's visuals, like the agenda. I like when there's music, which I hope maybe you'll talk about, like how to show music and do the screen sharing or mirroring thing with that, how to download that kind of stuff. So that's really helps me stay alert. And
thank you. And thank you for reminding me that I totally forgot to do screen share, which is a vital thing for us. So we cannot complete without that. Julia?
I was going to say, I like to get experiential with things instead of me talking all the time, because that drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come out with something for them to do, like I was doing I have an online group going, and we were talking about the divine ray coming in. So I had told everybody in advance to bring a towel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had them start twisting their towel as coming into life, meeting their trauma, their higher self quality gets twisted up into the lower self. And then I don't remember what we did with that, but we went into meditation and then we shared what is your, and they're holding this thing. Another time I had everybody go get up on the wall, like frontwards, push against the wall. As long as I can get the body moving, I want for that to begin.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think, we don't think about getting the body moving when we're on video, but, if you're sitting for a long period of time, as we have been, that could be uncomfortable. In fact, why don't we all stand up and stretch for a minute?
Got my pajama bottoms on.
Well, you can step away from the camera. I've got my lounge pants on myself, if I'm honest. Oh, this feels good, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. Did you go with horses or boats, Alicia?
I got plaids on.
What? Oh, plaid. Okay. Oh, that does feel good. It's so weird, you think about taking time like that, taking time for stuff like this. Like, oh, do I really want to distract and take time? But oh my goodness, it's so. I feel better. I've been sitting at this computer all day. I don't know about you, but I have. So that feels really good. Thank you for that, Julia. Did you say everything you were going to say, Julia? Okay, good. Yeah, Jean? I want something in the chat message. Yeah, go ahead.
We, in our little group, we have an actual break with music for movement in the halfway point. The other thing, if I have to teach sort of a longish thing, I like to go back and forth from my screen that I'm sharing to the group and every fairly soon and find out questions or responses or that kind of thing. Just break it up that way and get interaction that way.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing, I did do a thing with Kim Rosen a few weeks ago about using Zoom. And her suggestion, she was making the point that when we sit in front of our screen, we have a sort of habitual way that we hold our bodies because, we're face on and we, it's ready for a business meeting maybe. And so her advice is turn away from the screen and move and make your face all scrunch up and do stuff. Yeah. And whenever you want to, turn away from the screen and do that.
Yeah. Can I share? My wife is a personal trainer, so she's in phenomenal shape. And I sit at a computer all day. So the truth is, I know how to sit at a computer all day, unconsciously or otherwise. She did a 2-hour training yesterday, and she was like crippled from it because it was just her body was in a forward position that she's not used to. And, that's a great point, Jean. Thank you for that. Yeah, Kathleen, please.
I use the ball. Sometimes I sit in the ball, and I also have 3 different sites to sit with. I'm only doing individual sessions, really, or couple sessions. And my excuse me, and my husband is a core energetics trainer, as I am, and he switched to doing the ball, getting up and moving with people in a session or as a break. And I've got this spot with my iPad. I have another spot with a phone, I don't know what you call that thing, the stand, and then I sit in a different chair, and then I have a different place. So it helps me mix it up a little bit. I'm not in one spot all the time.
Great. Someone else? Okay, while you're thinking of more, okay, go ahead, Natalie.
Just an observation. I was in a workshop as a participant. That was an all-day workshop, and I mean, we did have long breaks, like that were like 2 or 3 hours. But one thing I noticed was that in the first 2 segments of the day, we had some short. This is a workshop where there was a teaching piece, and there was experiential stuff. It wasn't it wasn't Pathwork, it was Family Constellation.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some little exercises. And I noticed in the 2 sessions where there was a little exercise, where then there was breakout rooms and the opportunity to share, I felt very engaged. But in the last session, where two participants did a process, I just started feeling like I was just a spectator. And I find for me that happens easily if I'm doing something over the computer, over distance. And so it just struck me that it's really important to get people to contribute in some way.
Yes.
Every once in a while, like probably, within every 2-hour block or something so that they keep feeling like they're part of the group.
Right. Yes. I think that's really a great point. And like I said, I've never led processing as a help because I'm not a helper yet, but I was a seminar leader for EST and Landmark and Warner Earhart Associates. And then I did get to process people back, it was dangerous, but I did. But whenever I was working with people, if it was going on, I made sure to go like, hey, this is you that's here, right? This is part of you. This is for you to, like, I kept reminding the group that this is not just me having a conversation with Natalie and it's not important to you. This is, that's one thing I think it's important to do. And yeah, Joel?
Well, just to add to what you're saying, I think another important piece of when you're the audience, if you want to call it that, when 2 people are working together, it's like you should be involved in supporting them in their process. So yes, you've got something to learn from what they're doing, but you're also can be actively involved in praying for them, for example.
Yeah, great.
Billy?
Yeah, Judith.
When you look, are you looking at where the camera dot is, or like I'm looking at people and then I'm looking sort of down or up, or what's the?
Well,
yeah,
I think the answer is the more you can sort of be looking at your camera, the better. I am looking right now at the person, my camera's mounted on top of my monitor. I'm looking at the person right below it right now. And do I look like I'm looking right at you or not?
At me? No.
Where do I look like I'm looking?
A little bit lower.
I'm looking like a lower than you. Like, how about now? Do I look now?
Yeah, now you look like.
Okay, now I'm looking right exactly into the camera.
Yeah.
And yeah. So so Kathleen, did you have your hand up?
No.
Oh, Ken, please.
Yeah, so I know we can go to speaker view, but if 2 people were dialoguing with each other, rather than pinning one person, is it possible in a larger room to pin 2 people and have both of them in a dialogue?
That is a great question that I don't know the answer to. If there is, I don't know how to do it, but I want to find out the answer, and I will find out the answer. And if you email me, I will tell, and to remind me, I will email you and tell you what I found out. What do we do?
You email all of us?
All right, I'll email everybody. Okay, now I totally forgot where I was.
Whether you can pin 2 people at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if a helper is working with a worker, it'd be nice if you could have the helper on one side and the worker on another side.
Yeah.
And do they have to be exactly the same size to make the worker a bigger picture? Or could you put 3 people, the helper supporting 2 people having a dialogue? If they're doing a clearing presentation, you want to be lurking next to them, but you want to have both people be able to really interact real time rather than having back and forth.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we're actually doing an event where Carolyn Tylov and Sue Van Doren, the 2 most revered people in our region by far, are going to have a conversation, because Carolyn was there with Eva and worked for Eva, and you know, and Sue started Pittsburgh. Carolyn started Philadelphia. Sue started Pittsburgh. So they got a lot. Sue's 80 years old, and she's, forget about it. And so we want to, basically, that's what we want to do, right, is have everybody be able to participate, but have those two spotlighted all the time. So I'm hoping the answer is yes, and we can figure out how to do it. Great question. All right, let's talk about sharing screens, and maybe we'll come back to this. So I got to share my screen to show you how to share a screen. So on the bottom here is share screen. I think I have disabled this for you so that you can't do it, because that happened to me once. Someone shared their screen. It's like, wait, you know, we didn't want them to. In fact,
try this now. Are you seeing my screen now?
No.
No.
You're not. Okay.
No, you have to. It's two steps. One is you click share screen, and two is you have to click share. Meanwhile, I'm going to go look for that thing I wanted to play for you. I had a fun break too. It'd be ironic if it was the same thing. Mine's only about 50.
Here it is.
Go ahead.
Here it is. Can I share it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Now, Kent, when you did it, oh, is there more? Oh.
Yeah.
This is somebody with a lot of time on their hands. And a lot of toilet paper. I think I'm envious.
Pink toilet paper.
I know.
It's coming to the end.
Oh, that's funny.
That's brilliant. Now on mine, it was super choppy. Was it choppy for everybody else?
Yeah, it was very slow.
Yeah. Kent, when you shared that, share again, Kent, for a sec. Click share the first time. And did you click on optimize screen sharing for video clip?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'm going to try
Now I see
that.
where it is.
Well, you want to just try it again, and we won't watch the whole thing. We'll just see how far
All
you
right.
get.
I'll just do a little bit of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back midway through. Well, I'll
And
start at the beginning.
You click optimize?
I did.
Okay.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Definitely better.
Much better.
Yeah. Thanks, Al.
Okay, good.
All right. Now, the other thing is, I just took over for him by by sharing mine. I was able to take over Kent's. That's a good thing to know, because if somebody does share yours, you can stop them from sharing. But the easiest, quickest way to do it is to start sharing yours, and then you can unshare it. So here's the fun thing I want to show, and this is only like 20 seconds. This is cartoon characters with trying to Zoom with a villain who doesn't have good sound quality. You ready?
Yep.
Oh, here, I'm going to mute everybody. That's the other thing is, if you're doing anything like this, you really want to mute everybody, because anybody's making noise will really hurt the sound of the video. Mute all and close that, and let's go with this.
Where's the sound?
Dave,
I can't.
your microphone, it's not on.
Click on the button with the picture of the microphone.
Every time a villain calls in, this happens.
Hello? Hello? Well, now we can
So
hear
annoying.
you, but we cannot see you.
Every time.
That's like talking to my parents.
I love that. Every time a villain calls in, this happens. How was that? Was that smooth and sounded okay? Okay. So yeah, so those are really good things to know about on the share screen is optimize screen sharing for video clips and share computer sound. All right. Some other things I wanted to talk about presentation. You know, it might take some extra energy to remind people that this is a spiritual conversation we're having, like to really create a safe container and to hold that. So whatever you would do to do that, you know, really heartfelt attunement, you know, reminders part way. If you've got a big group, like when we had our giant first Wednesday, there was no, I mean, I had a 10-minute speaking part. There was no way I could have managed it as a host and spoke for 2 hours and been interactive. There were all these chat messages coming in. There were people raising hands, and there's just no way. So if you could have somebody else, if you're teaching, you could have somebody else be the host and you be the presenter. That's the way to do it. Of course, I personally, very early, if I'm doing a 2-hour lecture or something, very early, particularly a public one, I'll try to share something super vulnerable, super self-revealing, just to create that sort of space of, that's what can happen here. And or maybe even have a plant. You know, I know Alicia and Kim and Kathy are good for, Linda are good for, you know, doing something really heart opening. If we want to just, and then I'll acknowledge, oh, you know, that's really, it's great that you could, when you share vulnerably, you create so much space for other people to share. I don't think I've ever taught when I didn't acknowledge somebody for the space they opened for the rest of us. Because that's like the whole Pathwork, what it is we're doing here, in my view. Also, when I ask people to share, I always tee it up. I always say, just journal for a minute, because rather than have that minute of awkward silence, should I share, not share, what would I share? I always try to give people at least a minute to journal privately, just to compose their thought and see if they even have something that they want to share while the pressure's off. And I'll do that before they'll go into a breakout also, so that it starts it running. It's not, they're not starting from, I don't know what I would share. You know, also be patient. My wife has gotten really good at, I don't know how good you guys are. You're probably really good at it. When you're asking for a share, like being willing to sit there and for an excruciating 30 to 45 seconds, a minute with nobody saying anything. I mean, particularly the introverts really need that time. I'm probably telling you things you already know, but if this is useful, great. If it's not, if it's useful to one person, it's great. Okay, slides. This is something I do have some, thank you, Kathleen. This is something I do have some proficiency in. You know, when you're doing slides, the main thing to know about slides is people cannot read what's on your slide and listen to you. They can't do both. They can only do one. So when I'm creating slides, I might have, now it's different if, you know, you're doing an agenda and you're reading down it together and you're not trying to create an experience. But if I'm talking about, you know, I don't know, a spiritual topic, I'll just have try to have like 6 to 10 words and a nice image. The image, you know, you can have as many as you want, but the image wants to evoke and carry it. And maybe you need that one sentence, like, this is the main point I'm driving home. But don't have what you're going to say. Don't have 30, 40, 60 words on a slide. And, you know, try to keep it to 8 or 10 and try to have it be at least 18 point, whether you're online or in a hall or wherever. And like I said, you can have as many as you want. In fact, we did a great experience. It was really a nice experience. We were talking about the abundance of the universe a couple of times ago. I think, was that yours, Kim? And So we put together like 20 spectacular images from nature, you know, like these crazy, beautiful, gorgeous, colorful birds, and, you know, these amazing landscapes and flowers and animal, you know, the bunny lying down with the lion, you know, you know, just, and we just like, for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds, just one after another, just to really create an experience of the abundance of the universe. Videos, you know, there's so much great stuff out there. You know, if you can find a very funny clip that makes the point you want to make, you know, why not? Breaks. We've started mandatory having a 5-minute break for our first Wednesdays where you don't do anything else. Our last break, we said it's a 5-minute break, or you can watch this video during the break. That was a mistake. Don't do anything during the break. Make a break so people really take it. And that's my opinion. This is not written in stone. It's not true. It wasn't channeled. It might have been channeled. You don't know. Mix up the mood so it's not all deep. I like it to be spiritual, and like I could be really funny. Like I could do 2 hours of comedy and put on a good show, but no, it wouldn't make any difference. So I shove my comedy, like I just don't. I just only when it's going to make a point or it's safe to do it, but I really keep a lid on it. But I do try to mix up a light mood with a spiritual mood. A lot of, you know, I try to not go more than 2 or 3 paragraphs without saying, you know, how many people, you're just getting people to interact. How many people also have that issue? Or asking for people to shout out, you know, what's a 1-word thing, you know, polling, anything that gets people involved, so just not sitting there looking at a screen for 2 hours. Polls are great for that, you know, very low bang, very big bang for the buck, because you get everybody participating and it takes 1 minute. But that's my rubric also for when I'm doing a live lecture, that because if I have like some ADD going on, and if I listen to somebody talk for like 10 minutes straight, I'm gone. I have to go find a way to recover myself, or just, you know, zone out for a minute and come back. I started doing crossword puzzles on my phone. Don't tell well, I actually admitted to Lorraine that I did that. Our helpership teacher. I just needed to restart my brain, and it really worked. I just tuned out for a while in a total different brain set, and then it was fresh. Judith, I've unmuted you.
I had read once that people don't have the bandwidth to sit more than an hour and a half taking in a lecture, let's say, even though this is interactive. What have been people or your experience in terms of how long a class can be?
Well, I mean, it's variable. Lorraine's doing our whole helpership now on Zoom. So 3-day week. So we go from, was it 9 to 5 with a lot of breaks. So we would have an hour and a half lunch break, and we might have like 4 or 5 15-minute breaks, and maybe another half-hour break.
And that works?
Yeah, totally worked for me. You know, it's weird. A lot of people had a problem with, like as you know, I use a zero gravity chair. You know what that is? It's kind of looks like a little lunge chair. It's, I can't set my up. And when I use, I'm going to show you in a second. When I use the zero gravity chair, my back never gets tired. I don't get tired. Here, look at this. You can get them at Kohl's for $39. hold on. This isn't a really stylish one, but that's what a zero gravity chair looks like. You know, if you lean back, the legs going up with it, so every part of your body is always supported. And I know, and I don't get, and the one time I didn't do that for just one day, I was absolutely wiped out. So I think how you're sitting, and we talked about this before, but how you're resting yourself also makes a difference. Hold on. Oh, Zoom. I will have to get to Zoom bombing. Go ahead, Kim.
Hi, Judith. I Googled that a while ago and got a lot of interesting data, and it's really much less than an hour and a half. I forget now what it was, but it's something like 25 minutes. And they said, in fact, if you check TED Talks, are you all there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. TED Talks doesn't go longer than, I don't know if it's 25 minutes or something like that. Beyond that, people can't take it in. I'm sure if they get a little break, a stretch, some movement, but it's remarkably short. Google it, you'll find some interesting information about that.
Thanks, yeah. This was a number of years back. Probably our attention span has gotten less.
I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody. So yeah, it's probably good to get as much input as you can from the class, like who needs a break, or is this working for you? Do we need to do something different? Do we need to get up and move and dance or something? Okay.
I think one other thing that I've noticed, because I do a couple of classes on, but they're short. When I say short, I don't do them more than 2 hours. I personally don't like doing Zoom. I know it's the next best thing. And maybe some of you feel this, where you read energy in a very different way than you do on Zoom. It's harder. Maybe because of it's flat.
I think it's an acquired. My opinion is it's an acquired skill.
Yeah.
And that some people are actually more comfortable on Zoom and able to be more revealing than in person. But your mileage may vary. I thought of one thing I wanted to say about that. Oh, just like, I know, I got really, like Carolyn Tylov, and I at one point was really good at this back in the old days before Pathwork, got really good at reading energy just over the phone. And Carolyn Tylov's like, my wife, she's my wife's helper.
That's different, yeah.
And yeah, my wife, Carolyn will say, I just felt something in my body, what's going on? She goes, it's the same thing my wife was feeling like. But Carolyn is not of this world, so I don't know if that's a good measure. Ingrid, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was also saying it probably depends on how big the group is. I have done quite a few smaller group, like with 6 or 7 people at a time, which allows more interactive without breakout rooms. And I also find, like Judith, like 2 hours is a time span that should not be enlarged.
Are you saying 2 hours without a big break, or 2 hours in a day?
I also had a class that I was supposed to teach in person and then had to change to online. And what we actually did is we cut the hours and did 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. And that seemed to work quite well.
Got it. Great. Thank you. And thanks for your question, Judith, also. Let's talk about security. So first, a few data points. One is I've been using Zoom for a long time. I have never had a security breach. A very good friend of mine does these giant classes for CMU. She's using Zoom with giant groups. She has never had a problem. So the problems seem to be somewhat exaggerated in the media, and there's things you can do. I don't do them because they seem to be confuse people a little in terms of if you require a password, then if somebody doesn't have their password or they mistype their password, I just want to remove every barrier to, Now, look, if we're doing a security briefing, top level clearance, it's one thing. And I realize this is very personal, and if you're doing a helpership class or something, it's pretty personal, but I mean, you're going to know if somebody bumps. That said,
No. It was much worse than that. Someone came in hurling profanity right and left.
Right. So, I mean, you say that's much worse. I would rather somebody come in hurling profanity than lurking in the background, recording it and putting it on the internet. But
well, that's
yes. But you can kick that person out and then lock the meeting, right? So we talked about down at the bottom here is this security button, and you can click this lock meeting, and you can set it up so that you can lock meetings automatically. Jack actually sent me these. I don't know if you know Jack Conway. I'm sure many of you do. These, I haven't even looked at these, to be honest with you, but let's look at them together now. Only allow, this is a good, perfect example of a terrible slide. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting. You said you can knock people out. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, so now I'm on Manage Participants, and I'm hovering over Carol, and I can say Remove.
Oh, okay. No problem. Great.
Sorry, Carol, random choice there.
So when you say you can lock a meeting, does that mean no one else can come in or nobody else can go out? But what gets locked?
No, you can definitely go out. You just can't come in. Like, it's not like, yes. It's just funny to me. Like, how would you be, like, you can't lock something. But anyways, people can't get in.
It's not like Hotel It's not like Hotel California.
Or the Roach Motel, right? Roaches come in, but they can't get out. So we're going to just read these together because I'm looking at it for the first time. I slapped it in there and said, oh, I'll look at this. And I didn't look at it. So let's just see. So allow hosts. So again, terrible example of the slide, except for that we're going to read it together. And it's purely informational. Only allow hosts to control audio and video, so you can turn that off. That's a setting that remember we looked at all those settings. That's one of them. Begin the call with all video and audio muted. Allow only hosts to share the screen. We talked about that. Don't reuse old Zoom links. I reuse old Zoom links all the time, but I haven't had a problem. And if I do have a problem, I'll stop doing that. Set the chat settings so participants can only see and message the host. If you don't want people messaging, somebody popping in and messaging everybody. You could require registration. Ask people to sign up for a Zoom account, so the recognizable name or nickname. Send link to the call up about 30 minutes. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. So if you put your link on the website so anybody can find it, you're asking for trouble. Add a meeting password. Again, I don't do it because I don't want people to get confused, but plenty of people do, and I'm sure without a problem. And you can also disable the join before host, where they'll kind of go into what's called a meeting room, which is nothing but basically a blank screen with, you can put up like one little message. You can't put elevator music or anything like that in there. Let's go to the next one and see if anybody has, you can ask questions, but I don't know if I'll be able to answer them. During the call, keep everyone's video or audio off, lock the meeting after participants have joined, and avoid sharing sensitive information. So those two, really, once you're in and you lock the meeting, I think you should be good. I don't really know for sure how true that is. Was there something? Anything? Any other questions? I can either, if you ask, I will research it. If I don't know the answer, go ahead, Kathleen, and then Natalie.
Why link to the call only 30 minutes in advance?
Okay, so imagine you send out a link to, I don't know, like I had Paul Paquette sent out a link to like 80 people. Well, sent out a message to 80 people. I didn't have him send out a link. If he had sent out that link to other people and people had shared that link with other people, now maybe 200 people have it, only 80 of which we know and another 120 we don't know. That link is flying out there. You're not, that's the link that gets you in. That's the key. If you don't have a password, that is, the link is your password. The meeting ID and link is your password. So now, if you're only sending it to you know, your helpership training class, and you know nobody's going to freaking share that, you don't worry about it. But if you're doing a more public meeting, you might. Or if it's purely public, then you take your chances. You would put something out on Facebook, you're going to get what you get. No way to control it. Natalie, and then I think Julia maybe had her hand up.
That list didn't include the waiting room option. So that
well, it said disable join before host, but yeah, that's another one here. Let me share my screen.
It's different. That's a different thing.
Yes. So here I can enable the waiting room. Whoops. It's right here. You can also do this on your settings. You can also do this when you first set up a Zoom meeting, which we'll cover at the very end. Julia, did you have something to add?
I did, and now I'm not sure if I can remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. So you mentioned someone coming in and unknowingly recording what you're saying.
Well, that's the other thing. You can disable other people's ability to record. But right now, I think all of you guys could have been recording this if you wanted to.
Where is that?
It's a button on the bottom that says record.
And is that where if I were hosting that, I would prevent that someone else from recording?
No, if you're I'm sorry, ask your question again.
If I'm hosting and I want to prevent anyone else from recording, where would I go?
Oh, it's in the settings.
Okay. When you set it up originally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here also? No. Here's another place where you can remove a participant.
Uh-huh.
So you can do it here, or you can do it in manage participants.
Okay.
Joel, please.
Yeah, I was hosting a meeting, never did it before, and accidentally turned on the enable waiting room. And what happened was, as people tried to join the meeting, they couldn't get in until I went and clicked to allow them into the meeting. So for a meeting of, you know, path workers, it's like just a pain in the butt, you know.
Yeah.
So I turned that off.
Yeah, if you got a big group, that is a pain in the butt to use it. I use the waiting room. I want people to be able to socialize. Lorraine does this thing that bugs me, even though I've asked her not to, but apparently I'm not the boss of Lorraine, is when we're first joining, like we haven't seen each other for a month. This is our helpership group. 15 of us have been together from go. And 12 of us have been together for like 8 years. And so we haven't seen each other for a month and we love each other. How could you help when you're together at that time? And she'll share her screen with some meaningful message, which means and maybe play some music, which means you've only got this thin slice of people you can view and you have to talk over the music. I'm like, just let us socialize until you're ready to begin. I mean, if you want to send us a spiritual message, send us a spiritual message via email. Let us socialize. We don't get much chance to talk. So that would be my preference. And same thing with you. Like on this thing, it was great when we started the first 15 minutes. People, oh hi, hey, you live right across the river. I haven't seen you in 6 years. You know, it's nice to be able to talk to people. I mean, if Pathwork's about anything, it's about connection. For Christ's sakes. All right, so.
Billy?
Yeah.
Question about that topic. Suppose you want to give people a chance to talk to 3 or 4 people individually, you know, before the meeting started or at a break or something.
Well, you can do that. You could do that in a breakout room. You could have a breakout room and just say, am I sharing my screen? Okay, I'll share my screen. I could do a breakout room and I could, let me recreate, let's say I'm going to create one room. I'll do it manually. Now I've got one room. I've got nobody in it. Everybody with me? Can you see everything? Okay. So let's see. I'm going to put Alicia in there because I know they want Alicia. I knew Alicia, Ingrid, and Jean wanted to talk to each other, right? And they go open all rooms. Those three can go talk to each other, and we can keep doing what we're doing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Great. Thanks for asking that because I didn't really think about that, but I just figured that out because it fell out from everything else we were doing.
Well, they're going to have to ask you for the entrance to the room, though. That's part of it. They can't do it themselves.
No, nobody can do breakout rooms by themselves. Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what I think, does anybody else have anything you want to say or share before we move on to the final part of what we were going to talk about, which was the initial setup? And I'm thinking that there's a number of you that test out of that and you don't care about the initial setup. And so I wanted to give us a chance to complete and say goodbye for just a minute. And so I'm going to unmute everybody. So please manage your noise the best you can. And then we're going to just say goodbye or complete, or if you have final questions, please ask them. And then I'll do that final part where we granularly talk about how do you set up a meeting in the first place and how do you schedule it and like that.
Can you cover just briefly the difference between a free account and a paid account?
$15. No, a free account, okay. A free account you can do one-on-one indefinitely. But unless you use the schedule feature, this is something I learned the hard way. If you use the schedule feature, at least this is the way it was when I learned this 6 months ago, it will only give you 40 minutes. You can do with multiple people for a maximum of 40 minutes. Then it's going to cut you off. And I don't know what other features aren't available. I don't know if you can do polling or breakouts or any of that with a free account. I don't know the answer. No, Jean's shaking her head no.
Thank you.
Kim.
I've noticed that I'm on a delay. So I can see, and I'm just wondering if you know why that would happen. So like in real time, I have a bar for some reason. Well, anyway.
You have like bars like how good your connection is on a phone?
No, what I was going to say is at times there's a bar with just a few of us there and I'm in real time. When I talk, I see me. See myself, so there's two screens of me. But then when I see myself in the whole screen with everybody else, it's on about a 3-second delay. Can you imagine why that might be?
I'm not following you. Let's try it again. Say it again.
I don't know how else to restate it. Maybe it's not that important.
There's a 3-second delay before what happens?
If like when I'm talking now, never mind, it's in real time right now. Never mind.
Yeah, it could be, you might have a loose connection. Let me see something.
No.
In your video for a second. No, I don't know.
Because you're in share screen and seeing yourself.
Oh, that's it. Oh, excellent. Thank you for that. Oh, I got to unpin you. That's great. It's very confusing when I'm sharing my screen and you can see my screen in gallery view.
Oh,
that's
got
where
it.
For that.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, Kathleen. Yeah, Kathleen.
Thank you. The free accounts have been kind of suspended in terms of the time limitations. So I've been scheduling in advance and seeing individuals for an hour. I haven't tried to do a gallery and large groups, but on the free account, you can do scheduling and do free for more than 40 minutes.
Great.
Currently.
Nice. Alicia.
Hey, Billy, I forget what you said about co-hosting. Because, Judy and I are doing that group, and do you know much about the co-hosting?
No, that's
option?
why you forget, because
Okay. Okay.
I didn't have anything to offer on that.
Offer about that? Okay.
But I will see if I can find anything and send that out to everybody. What's the question? Like, what do you get when you close? What can you do and not do?
Yeah, right. And how do you, yeah.
Yeah, so if I, let's see, if I go, Alicia, let's see. Okay, so I just made you co-host. Do you now see stuff on the bottom of your screen you didn't have before?
Yeah, I have security and I have the polls that I didn't have before. Both of those two. That's the difference.
Well, there you go.
Okay, great.
Good.
Okay.
That's what we call a field test, field study.
Billy?
Yes.
Would you be able to do that for Wednesday when Kathy and I are co-hosting?
Yeah. I don't know that, I wonder if I can make a third person co-host. Let's see. See if I can make you so Alicia, you're still co-host. And I'm going to Linda. And now, did that steal your co-host, Alicia? Or are you still?
No, I'm still good. I'm still co-host.
Billy, can you try and do some breakout rooms and see if the co-hosts are kept out of the breakout rooms?
Ah, well, let's see. I can do that without even here. Let me share my screen so you can have the benefit. Oh, I love doing this kind of field testing. I hope you guys are tolerating it.
I don't know, how did you get the co-host set up like that? I thought you had to do that from settings.
There probably is an enable co-host option in settings that we'll see. We'll check that.
Okay.
Co-host.
Hey, Billy, remember somebody, I think it was somebody wanted to know about visiting people in breakout rooms also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That I don't think I can show you because you'll be in a breakout room. Oh, let's see. Maybe if we put,
I know you can do it. I've done it. I can't remember how though.
All right, let me think about this. Because now now I forgot my last question. So, and now I forgot both questions.
The last question was about, if you put everybody in breakout rooms, will the co-hosts stay out of the breakout room?
Co-host.
Can I have one more time before we go to this next topic?
Hold on. And the other one is, how to visit.
Right.
Okay, so when I see, right now, it says assign 19 participants into rooms. So it's by default going to put the co-host in a room.
Okay.
I presume, because there's 20 of us and it was 19 just like before.
Okay.
So I'm going to go put, who wants to volunteer to be in a room while I show everybody else how to visit the room? Okay, Alicia, thank you. So, Alicia, you're going to go into your own room. Hold on, let's get, recreate. Oh, okay. One room manually. All right, so I'm going to assign Alicia. Am I sharing my screen still?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I am. I'm not.
No, you're not.
No.
You're not.
So I've created one room, and I said manual, and now I'm going to assign Alicia to it, and I'm going to put her in there Alicia, you can come back anytime. Give us a minute to figure it out. And she's going to be there for 2 minutes. We got a 30-second countdown timer, and let's open all rooms. Okay, now she's in her room, and now, see here, it says join. So I'm like, join breakout. So I don't know what's going to happen with you guys, but I'm going to go talk to Alicia. We'll see. Don't go away. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
All right. So I've joined the breakout room. I don't know what everyone else can see, so I'm going back. So let's go to the main session. Oh, that was fun. That was great. So, you guys couldn't, I just went away, right? I assume?
Yeah. Right. You had an out-of-body experience, and we couldn't go with you.
I just popped in, and just me and Alicia. It was lovely. Okay. So,
but she's still in the room.
Yeah, you gotta get her back.
Oh, I told her to come back.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if we can get her. Close all rooms. All breakout room here. Oh, I can go here. Can I do anything? Oh, it's gonna bring her back in 24 seconds. Oh, there you go.
Hi.
You're not able to bring yourself back to the main room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Alicia.
We're worried about you.
Lost me in the breakout room.
Michael, did you have a question?
Set up?
Michael, I see your hand up. Did you have a question?
It wasn't really a question, it was really a comment about this whole process. You asked earlier about the thoughts we had about this experience. What strikes me is that we're living in a brand new world, and this is a powerful tool that sort of popped up out of nowhere, and it lets us really communicate with people when we're same time separate from them. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to teach us lots of amazing things here in the next while. I'm sure it is. It already has for me. Like we're in a different world.
Yeah, it's been, I think it's been in some ways great. I mean, obviously I don't like being sheltered in place, but the fact that Zoom's available has made such a huge difference. All right, well, I should have asked this question before. How many people, show of hands, want to stay for the last piece about the initial setup? Okay, almost everybody. So if you're not staying, I will say goodbye and thank you.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye, everybody.
Nice seeing
you. Nice seeing you too.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Carol.
Bye.
Bye. How do I leave? Oh.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, so prerequisites. I don't recommend, I think I said this already, I don't recommend hosting other than one-on-one with anything less than a laptop or 4, but if you kind of have a group of 10, 15, 20 people, I think you really need a laptop or a desktop. And you want to have a decent camera, and you can buy a very decent camera microphone for $60. Logitech makes one. Oh, and you need obviously you need a paid account if you're going to be doing things that are more than 40 minutes to more than 2 people. Okay, types of scheduling. You can schedule people right away. Here, let me go to, am I sharing my screen? No. Let me see if I can find. Okay, one way to schedule is you just click new meeting. Well, let me just, I think I want to try, see if I can do this with you guys there. So can you see this right here where it says,
yeah.
Oh, it's return to me. That's not, oh, I can't do new meeting because I'm here, but I can click schedule. So let's start with schedule. So I click schedule. You can give it a name, a date, a time. Doesn't matter. If you say it's half hour and you go for 6 hours, Zoom's not going to kick you out. It will always kick you out after 40 minutes of pure idle time if you're just sitting there by yourself. Your time, your date, whether it's recurring or not. Now the truth is, so this is going to give you a meeting ID, or you can use your personal meeting ID. Everybody who has a paid Zoom account has I don't know about unpaid, has a personal meeting ID. And this is just one you can reuse, just like you reuse your phone number, or you can do generate automatically, which is like getting a new phone number each time. I like for these meetings, like I use the same link, this training and the training before, just for consistency. And then when you can decide whether you want to require a meeting password, and you can say what that password is. Whether you want to start with a video on and the participant's video on or off, but that can always be overridden. Audio, I don't know why you wouldn't always give everybody the opportunity to join with telephone and computer audio. And then this is sort of a mixed bag of this calendar because everybody's got a different calendar. So if you're sending this out to 10 different people, so one person's got an Outlook, one person's got a Google Calendar, somebody's got Microsoft, a Mac, whatever. So advanced options, somebody asked about enable join before host or enable waiting room. There they both are. You can mute participants on entry. You can force people to have to be authenticated, which I don't even know how you do. And you can automatically record it. Oh, this isn't, this I think is a paid alternative host. I think is different than co-host, and I don't understand it. And then you click schedule, and then it's going to pop up, so depending on which calendar you said, something that allow you to grab the, I guess I can do it right now. If I click schedule, you can see it's oh shoot. No, I don't want to do that. Because I scheduled it for now. So let's schedule it for tomorrow, and we'll just call this test so I don't get confused. And now if I click schedule, it's going to pop up this Google Calendar, this thing, because I chose Outlook. But the main thing is you can just grab this link and throw it in to an email to people. Or, if I send this to people, and this will, by the way, if I can put it right in my Outlook calendar. Okay, before I say anything more, any questions about scheduling?
Really, I just wanted to say that that checkbox about being authorized, I think all you're doing, if you check that, you're going to require that anybody who participates have an account on Zoom.
Okay.
I think that's what that is. Don't quote me.
Got it.
Yeah, I have a question, Bill. So you created that. Now, if you put somebody's email address or a group email address in, you wouldn't have to then copy it and send it out in a second.
Here's the challenge of that. If I do that with the Outlook widget, then everyone's going to get an Outlook thing. But if you don't have Outlook, then you're going to be, it may not work. So that's why I just copy out the link and the code. And the link always has the code in it, but not everybody knows that, right? The last number of numbers at the end of the link, that is the code. Any other questions about scheduling?
Yeah, do you have to schedule a meeting in order to have one?
No, you can just, now I'm just showing scheduling. Now let me show the other thing. Am I sharing my screen? I am sharing my screen. All right, so if I click, let's look at this one. Here I can click new meeting at the top. And when I click this down arrow comes. Do I have one with it? Oh, excellent. When I click the down arrow under new meeting, I'm looking at here. You see the down arrow? Hey, let me just, this down arrow right there. When I click that, this pops up. I can start with video. Do I want to click this button for use my personal meeting ID? That's like I told you, your phone number, or you can click it again and it'll generate a number for you to enter, or rather it'll randomly create one. Yeah, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent.
I'm a little unclear still on the invite. Can you, because I have a Mac, so that's probably part of it.
Who is speaking? I can't
Linda,
see.
sorry. Linda Sue.
There you are, Linda. Hi. And people keep moving around because people come and go. So you have a MacBook and you have a different way of how it works?
No, I just don't know how you would invite multiple people. I've done it with one.
Oh, well, when you copy that link, so you can just, with my PMI, I can just send my PMI link, my standard link to everybody, to anybody, if I'm doing it that way. Or I can send the code to everybody. You just copy it and paste it into an email. Does that make sense?
Do you do more than one person's name in the to box? Is that what you do?
Well, it depends. I really hate it when people do like I send something and people reply all. I send it to 20 people and people reply all, thank you. And now 19 other people have to hear that, you know, Bob is thanking me. And so what I typically do is I put everybody in a BCC, I send it to everybody in a BCC, blind carbon copy, so that the only person they can reply to is me. But if you're all buddies and you're all friends, you don't care, you don't mind getting some extra junk in your inbox, you could certainly do the 2 to everybody, or you could do them 1 at a time. I recommend, you know, whenever you're probably going to want to send the link when you schedule it, or at least a day or 2 before the event, just so people don't get anxious about it. But I also recommend 15 to 30 to an hour before a call resending the link, because you've always got that one person who can't find it, and now your meeting is hijacked until that one person can find it. The other nice thing about scheduling things is it kind of pops up and reminds you when your meeting is coming. So it's got some intelligence in terms of how it's saying, hey, your meeting's starting. You want to click on this link and get started. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Are there any other questions? Any questions I didn't answer that you sent in? Or somebody asked, how can I do the backgrounds? I'm not going to talk about it because I don't like them. I think they wind up, unless you have a green screen behind you, which is just a green, you could use a green blanket, or they sell them. They sell these things, they're not expensive, or a green pop-up thing. If you have that, then you're going to have a nice smooth background. If you have the kind of background I have now, and I use those virtual backgrounds, people know what I'm talking about, the virtual backgrounds. You see, like, I'm in San Francisco, I'm in Paris, I'm whatever, I'm at the beach with the wind blowing and the pine tree. So if I don't have a consistent background, when I do this, parts of my head are going to go away because it can't figure it out in time. So it's just distracting and annoying. And I think the breeze blowing pine tree is annoying. So I don't teach how to use it. You can, and I don't know how to do it, but you can certainly Google it and find out. Yes, Alicia, please.
Your mute is muted. What about if you want to share a photo from your phone? Like screen share a photo from your phone. How do you?
Oh, well, then you got to do the whole, you have to have an iPhone. I don't think you can do it with an Android. And you have to Google that because it's complex. But when I did screen share, let's see, am I sharing my screen now? Hold on.
No.
Sharing my screen, and now I'm clicking screen share again, and you see this iPhone, iPad. So if it's plugged in, there's a way to do it. Okay. I don't know. I think you have to have an app on your phone also or something.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just a Skype app. I don't know. But if you Google it, it's probably very easy to do. I don't have an iPhone, and I don't know why I would ever do that. So.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
My name is David. I'm along with Pamela Jones. It's a technical, simple, I hope. We have another desktop computer in the other room that also has Zoom on it. The problem is in setup, in setting up my microphone, I get a drop down that does not include my actual microphone. Now I'm wondering whether I need to delete Zoom and reload it, because my correct microphone is set up on all my other audio video programs. And I may have set up Zoom at a time when I actually had a separate microphone. My current microphone is on the video camera.
Right. And you can't select that video camera / microphone in Zoom. Even when you have like, let me share my, let me share my, am I sharing my screen? I am sharing my screen. So I'm assuming you've gone to here, and here you do not see under select a microphone, your microphone. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I've gone there and it does not offer me the one that I can use. It offers me the basics, the basic sound system of the computer, and
I like your idea of trying to reinstall Zoom. Yeah, I don't. Other than that, it could be a hard. I don't know. You're saying everything else works with that microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That's what I would do. I would try restarting it. Anyone else? Going once?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
It's a very, very basic question. I am presuming that everyone has to be signed on to some kind of Zoom account in order to join a meeting as a participant.
No, it's a great question, and not so. Oh, in order to no, when you send a Zoom link out, they will click on it, and they will be prompted to download this sort of temporary Zoom software thing. It'll automatically happen, and they'll be in. In fact, so that's one answer. Did that make sense before I give a second answer?
Yes.
Okay. The second answer is there's a way to create a link where if people are using a Chrome browser, I don't think it works for any other browser, they can just see it right in the Chrome browser. They don't have to download anything. They will have some limited functionality, but probably not a limit that's going to be a big problem. But that's what you would use if you have somebody who's like a complete Luddite and they're like, I tried it, my window went away, blah, blah, like that. You could try that with them. And the link is slightly different. You'd have to Google it to see what it is, but I found it fairly easily when I looked for it.
Okay. Thank you.
That was a good question. All right. Well, I've enjoyed being with all of you. And thanks for your time and attention, and go forth and make great happen for your Pathworkers on Zoom.
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you
Very
so
much.
much. That was really helpful.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Billy. Bye, everyone.
Hey. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.